All right, what do we have here? A nice rented excavator. Baby wants to excavate too. Working on some stumps and stuff over here. The back end of the house. So that's the exciting part of the video, but we'll get rid of some trees first. So we'll record some of the clearing I did with my little Oregon electric chainsaw. We cut down so many trees with this little thing. And notice Penny in the foreground here. And, you know, the dogs are usually good at staying where they need to be. But, oh no, Penny wants to come do a little business before I cut this tree down here in the septic field. So, I don't know. I've cut so many trees with her around, and she knows better than to be where they're at. But, you know, she's getting old. She does what she wants. But now we got her out of the way. And these trees are pretty small. So, you know, I'm not too worried about the dogs being out there. They're pretty smart. If I cut down big trees, they could really do some damage and want to fall really fast. I'd definitely keep the dogs out of there. But, you know, they're my babies. And a little party with that one. Yeah, just showing you how I cut these little guys down and debranch some of them. But yeah, this back corner of the lot, so many little spindly maple trees, a few alders and stuff. So we just want to get these ones out of the way. This is probably one of the bigger ones. So yeah, I had the dogs inside for this one and a couple more over here in this corner. This one was scary because it was like it's a 3-branched tree. Wise up there, you can see where it broke kind of far up. I had to be on a ladder on that, and those are always scary to be cutting on a ladder, which you shouldn't do. So if you're cutting trees, don't get on a ladder and cut them. It's just not smart. But, you know, just cutting these little guys. They're all maple, so they're tall and spindly, but since it's maple, they're still pretty heavy. Yeah, it just feels nice to cut these little guys. And, you know, that little shed there, I talk about it later. I was all worried about landing these trees on them. Most of them didn't want to fall towards it, so it wasn't too bad, but some of them I had to direct away. But there was 2 that just kind of caught the edge there. I think they might be coming up pretty soon. Or well, this one had no choice but to cut it over the shed. So what I did was cut it at the top level of the shed, and just cut it till it started moving, so it was like a slow fall. And then once it like landed on top, then I cut it off. You could see it kind of snap at the end there. So let it do its thing onto it and then cut it off so it wouldn't completely crush it. So in the end, it's going away anyway. So I think this one might be hitting the edge of it. Yeah, see, that one, yeah, it wasn't a big deal because it was such a light tree. The next one come like a little heavier. I did put some dents in it. And it's a little harder to open the door over there, but again, not a big deal. It's all good. And man, there were just so many trees over there. I'd say probably at least, what do we have? Maybe 20-ish. But today it's a little hazy. It's a different day, and the wildfire smoke started coming into play. Wasn't fun breathing that stuff at all, but still got to work. But yeah, it's coming down to the end of the trees here, and the final one was the scariest, and you'll kind of see that here in a second. So you see all those go fast, and then this one is just taking its time because I'm pushing it here over because I had it leaning up wonky wise, and I'll describe that here coming up, so enjoy that. All right, we're back here behind the shed, and the ugly shed, and somehow I was able to fall all these trees and not destroy it. I did get one little bang up here in the corner there, but I think it'll still keep water mostly out. I mean, this shed has seen its useful lifespan pass it by, so it's just kind of keeping possibly usable wood semi-dry. So once we get other sheds made, this one's gonna go away anyway. So I stressed out way too much about whether I was gonna land a tree on it or not, but that's just my nature, anxiety, blah blah blah, just like everybody else these days. But anyway, yeah, we got all the trees we're gonna cut down in this section of the lot. My line is right here and here, and so this maple is just on the other side, and this little one as well. I think those 2 little fir trees are just on the other side of the rope. But even if they weren't, I would keep them because I do love fir trees or cedars. I don't know if this is just a ornamental like a rhododendron, or if it's a actual tree. We'll see if it starts growing. But yeah, I just had a huge clump of maples growing here and there and along the edge over there, and one big alder here and one big alder here, and then there was another one that was one of those weird like super tall plum trees or cherries or something like I have way over there that's dead. But yeah, we cut that one down, and so we fell a couple that wanted to lean on this lot. There was one that wanted to go on the fence over here, but I was able to get it to go this way, so that was nice. And then, of course, the last one that I cut was the one that gave me the super panic attack, and it was this one here. And I thought it was going straight up, so I thought, or it was going pretty much straight up, and I thought the bulk of the way it was slightly this way, so I thought I'd be able to steer it this way. But once I cut the hinges in it, it leaned back this way, and it wanted to fall on their little portable outhouse or fence. But I lucked out with their maple tree that's just on their side, stopped it, and then I had to do I did some snipe cuts and got it to fall down straight here. And luckily, it started leaning more towards the gap here. So I was like, okay, that was nice. But then when I did the snipe cuts, it fell more this way, which was nice. And then only did like 2 snipe cuts, and then I stood up on this stump and it was sitting down here, so I stood up on its own stump and was able to push it that way, and then got on the ground and pushed it that way, and it ended up falling over there. So crisis averted. And luckily a lot of these trees, some of them obviously fell onto the drain field, especially the ones that were over here, which you don't really want big things sitting on your drain field, which I think this pile, he said this shed wasn't on the drain field, but it probably is. You don't want them on your sewage drain field or septic. But luckily a lot of these fell straight along, and I think the drain field ends over here, so it's nice to have a lot of them here. And a lot of them that are in the drain field, they're skinnier trees, so it's not like they're huge bulky items sitting on there, and they'll only be there for a week or so, if that, and we'll get them all cut up and off of that. But yeah, it's really nice to have these out of here right now. The sun's setting over there, so we'll get more light in the wintertime over here. So that's good. In the summertime, it's going to be a lot of heat, but I think the sun goes up over here anyway, so these ones only shaded the septic field anyway. And then I think it went more behind these big fir trees anyway, so I don't think it's going to be much different, but it'll be much more light in the wintertime, which is nice. Oh yeah, forgot to note, this one maple is on my lot, and I decided to keep it. It's just one tall, spindly one. It's fairly large. I could probably direct it into that gap like it did the alder instead of onto my shed, but yeah, it would be pretty hairy. But then again, and it doesn't want to lean towards their property. It wants to come basically right where I'm standing here if it does fall naturally. So yeah, or I guess if it wants to come this way, I guess I would drop it on this side of the shed if need be. But yeah, we'll keep one up there, give this one a partner. And since it's, straight, it's not all wonky growing, hopefully some leaves will sprout, or more leaves will sprout on the lower end and branch out lower up instead of just being one tall, skinny guy. So, but yeah, we'll leave it there for now. May come down in the future. But if it does, or if I have to cut it down in the future, this shed will be gone, and I don't think I'm going to build another shed in this corner, so it'll be an easy peasy cut down. So baby's like, I'm bored with the trees. Let's do something exciting. Wait, you want to excavate? Oh, now we're talking. Here we go. All right, y'all. Okay, I got the excavator last night. Never used them before, so I ran it just a couple hours and just getting used to it. So this is the destruction I did with that. I had a huge pile right here, still little remnants of it, and I just kind of doing a staging area back here for all my sticks and whatnot. So just kind of going back and forth and dug up this area as I was just tracking it. And, you know, rookie mistake. I knew my septic caps were here for the tanks. And yeah, I lifted this one up with the bucket. So I got to get a new riser and caps. So, yep, you know, rookie mistakes. So yeah, I just worked on this area a bit. And then I went back here. Because at some point I want to level this kind of out back here to put my camper van and my boat. Well, the boat will probably go here, but obviously not messing with that. And we did have a pile of branches here that I've kind of moved over here, but wanted to dig out all the ferns and whatnot. Still have lumber and, or not lumber, but firewood stacked up here, and just kind of digging all this out of here. And went back there a little bit. And I'm not going to dig out the stumps because it just takes too long, so maybe I'll cut them down lower and then use a stump grinder on some of them, but in this end it's still going to just be landscaping probably anyway, so those will be some future date. But yeah, so we'll go work on some more stuff today. All right, so here we are in the back end of the property, and I just was using this thing on like the lowest gas setting because when you're new to this, you're trying to get used to the controls, and so you're doing a lot of herky-jerky stuff, so you're bouncing around there a lot if the engine's revving pretty high. So I just kind of kept it on the lowest level just to get the feel of it, and just kind of digging around, trying to take things off the surface and level it out. Like right in front of me where I'm at there, just to the left of the tracks, there's an old cedar stump that I wasn't sure if I could really dig out the stumps yet or not. So I just decided to just kind of get it as level as I could. And you can see the guy in the background there, my neighbor behind me. He's experienced in this, and here I'm just like, okay, there's a small stump, so I just dug around that one, was able to get that out. But anyway, I let him run the machine here in a little bit, and he kind of showed me how to work it a little better, and that, you can take out these big stumps pretty fast. It doesn't take too long, especially the soil we have here. There's barely any rocks in there. It's just very, alluvial soils maybe, or loamy. So yeah, just easy to dig in. But I just wanted to clear everything for the most part here, just to get some fresh dirt exposed, so then it just feels like I can have a base layer to work from. And then Penny, the ever-trusting dog, just like, oh yeah, Dad, you got a tractor? And I'm just gonna lay here because I do what I want. And the neighbor dog, she came up and was like, hey man, you can't be sitting in front of that tractor. And that's Bailey.
Hi, Bailey,
good old dog. Well-fed dog.
Bailey.
Back at it, here's the neighbor. He's taking control, showing me what kind of capabilities these tractors actually have, and how to move a lot of stuff all at once. So, very helpful having him run it. Plus, I was getting exhausted. I wouldn't think just sitting in a seat would be so exhausting, but it is. And then here where I'm putting the machine to the test. I knew I was going to pick up this rock, but I was hoping I could just pull it, kind of like I wanted to move it where that tractor is, just so I could pull my boat up to that tree. But yeah, it wasn't having it, so failure. And then here's where I had a big, junk pile forever, and I was pulling it from the other side of that tree, and then I couldn't reach this stuff, and to the left of it's the drain fields. I couldn't come at it at that angle, so I just kind of pushed it all forward, and then go back behind that tree and grab it and add it to that pile. That was pretty fun, just moving that giant pile, because that would have taken me the whole day by hand at least, and I would have been exhausted. But oh man, got spoiled with this tractor for sure, this excavator. Love this thing. And yeah, so we got as much as we could. Yeah, there was some left over the next day that I did have to, after the tractor was gone, move by hand, and the whole time I'm like, oh man, this would have taken me 5 minutes with the excavator. So yeah, so spoiled. But here we are. I was finally like, okay, I'll have to dig out some stumps. Take me a half hour to 45 minutes to pull out one giant stump, and yeah, that's how it worked, and to fill it back in. So we got that maple tree out of the way, and man, the maple stumps are so much heavier than the alder stumps. I learned that. So yeah, just backfilling here and making it look like it was never even there. That was fun. I didn't record this one here. It's by the back door maple tree, and yes, quite the bomb crater. This one was a beast. It did not want to come out of there. It had a lot of extending roots. Yeah, it took quite a while, but we'll fill this back in a bit and move on. And this over here is back over by the septic drain field, and so I cut down a lot of those little trees, and a lot of them fell to the outer edge of the drain field, but some were still on the drain field. And you don't want to bring your excavator onto that or any heavy equipment onto your drain field. My contractor neighbor did tell me that you can do it, but you want to come perpendicular to the your drain lines. You don't want to run vertically with them, because then you'll collapse them. But if you're putting the weight crisscross from them, then it can handle it, but not something you want to do every day. So I would basically just come to the edge of the field and then extend the bucket out as far as I could. And then over here is just running perpendicular to the drain field itself, so I'm not even on it, and just kind of clearing all that out of the way. And there is a lot on the other side that it's not going anywhere anytime soon, so I just put a bunch of debris over there, and I'll slowly whittle through it and get it back off that property, because it's not mine. But here I had 10 yards of gravel delivered, and we're just kind of feathering out the driveway so it's not all muddy, and so I can get my cars on it. And this section right here is going to be some sheds in the future, and so we're just leveling it out the best we can. Yeah, wish I would have had about 20 yards, but that stuff's not cheap, but it is what it is. And the deer's not impressed with me clearing all the delicious vegetation off my property, but they'll live. Anyway, hope you all liked it, and like and subscribe if you dig my content, and come back for mobile home working. Take care, y'all.